All right, everyone, good morning. Sorry for the delay in getting started here, but just had an important conversation I had with some people about the markets, and I'll kind of go over a little bit of that maybe. But here we are, so let's get started. So today is January the 24th, Friday. It's a little chilly here in Miami, but it's probably really cold everywhere. All right, so let's take a look here. So for today's session for Friday, January 24th, we've got the following information. At 9:45 a.m., we're going to have flash manufacturing PMI and flash services PMI. These are two major reports that will almost certainly have significant market impact. Then at 10 a.m. Eastern, we're going to have existing home sales and revised U of M consumer sentiment. Those two are moderately important reports. And then we'll also have U of M, revised U of M inflation expectations, which is a minor report. So we should get significant volatility today. This is probably the first day we've had in a while where we've had a good number of strong reports that are coming out. So we can expect some movement. Yesterday we didn't have a lot of things that were important, but we did have President Trump speaking at the World Economic Forum. I did not read the comments. I didn't read or listen to anything that he says, so I have to now analyze it. But the markets did not respond much at all, except at the very end of the day we saw some strong buying. So maybe something was said during that time that was considered very bullish. Unemployment claims yesterday came in as expected. No surprise there. All right. So the markets are clearly watching the economic data because the better the economic data comes out, the more incentive the FOMC, the Federal Reserve Bank, has to raise interest rates. And that's what everybody's scared about. Now, more importantly, the market knows that the FOMC is not going to raise rates. So it's not really, I shouldn't say they're afraid of that. What the markets are actually more afraid of is that the FOMC will not lower rates at the pace that they said or the degree necessarily that they said. So we're down to an expectation of two rate cuts this year, and most likely they'll be in the second half of the year, which is different than what everyone was expecting before the start of this year. So that was a big surprise and a big letdown for the market. So any data that continues to confirm the strength of the economy, however you want to look at it, if the numbers come in better than expected, then the market's going to assume the FOMC will consider that to be good news and will give it more incentive to stay with their plan to delay further rate cuts. So that's what's weighing on the markets these days. In other words, good news is going to be bad news until the markets are convinced the FOMC is going to stick to a plan and once a certain set of rate cuts, and once they're convinced of that, then the focus will go back to the actual data itself. All right, having said that, the QQQ ETF was bullish, mildly bullish yesterday. Basically just traded up through its price range, the YCTO. So this is where it closed yesterday. This is where it opened. I'm sorry, this is where it closed the previous day, not yesterday. This is where it opened down here yesterday. So you can see there's a gap there. What it did was just trade up towards that and gap filled it, filled the gap that was there yesterday. So today it looks like we are going to open slightly below yesterday's close. You can see this is where we are now. That's where we closed yesterday at dotted red line. So we're going to open slightly lower. So it doesn't look like we have a bullish sentiment for the markets today, but I think it's more cautionary because we don't have the data coming out pre-market. It's coming out after the market opens. So it's going to tend to have more impact because of that. Now, that being said, let's take a close peek at what was moving yesterday. And actually, there really wasn't anything. We saw one stock that got our attention, but it didn't plan out. That was Coinbase. It ended up falling apart quickly after. So this was the only stock we found yesterday, and it did not match up to what we were hoping would happen. It fell apart shortly after we got in at the earlier stage of the session. So this is what most stocks looked like yesterday. So yesterday was just not a good day for trading. So early on, we recognized that. We cut off our trading when we didn't see anything that really met our criteria. These are some of these stocks that we were monitoring yesterday on the left, or sorry, the right. But as you can see, only one of those actually triggered that we could take an entry, and it didn't play out, so we left the rest alone. Or so I'm deleting those. All right, let's look at the pre-market and see what's moving right now. Waiting for my list to populate, but I don't see much so far. All right, here we go. So looks like a short list, so let's go through it quickly. First up, we have ASST. ASST is bearish yesterday, and looking at it pre-market, it's down 11.31%. 1.6 million shares are traded. The problem is it's now below $1 per share, which just happened over the last 15 or so minutes. So unfortunately, that means this stock will not qualify. Next up is ATXI, which is presently up 7.6% on 16.98 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. So we can go ahead and add that to our pre-market watch list. Symbol again is ATXI. All right, next up is ELAB, which is presently up 103% on 26.8 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market watch list. ELAB is the symbol. Next up is EVAX, which is presently up 109% on 22.23 million shares. It's trading at least $1 per share, so EVAX will be added to our list. Next up is KOPN, which is presently down 5.38%, so not enough, but it may go down enough to qualify. I'll put this on our possibilities list. It's trading a little slowly, so I'm not sure this is going to make it to qualify. But KOPN, we'll keep an eye on it for later. Next up is LAES, which today is only up 4.9%, so not up enough. The stock comes up a lot, but it's not moving enough today, so we'll pass on that. Next stock is LITM. This one would have qualified, except it's trading under $1 per share. Obviously, it had some bad news, so this one we'll have to pass on that. Next up is NITO. Okay, that currently is down 9.32% on 1.9 million shares roughly. It's still over $1 per share, so we can add that, but it may fall below the $1 per share mark before the market opens, so let's just keep that in mind. NVIDIA is next. This is not up enough or down enough. It's only moved 0.3%, so this doesn't qualify, but it looks like it's pretty active. So maybe at the open, we'll take a look at that to see how it looks. NVNI is currently up 43.62% on 4.6 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. We'll go ahead and add that NVNI to our pre-market list. Next up is Plug Power, PLUG. That presently is up only 3.35%, so not enough. This stock has not been moving in a significant range for a long time, so I think I already removed it from our regular watch list, but it does come up regularly on the scanner, but not moving enough that we can do much with it, so we're not looking for stocks to move in pennies per share. Next up is RGTI. That's only up 1.8%, so not enough, so pass on that. Next up is RNAZ. Currently, that's up 19.27%. 2 million shares are traded. It's at least $1 per share, so we can go ahead and add that to our pre-market watch list. Symbol again is RNAZ. Okay. Next up is SDST, which is currently up 6.5% on 2 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that to our pre-market watch list. The symbol again is SDST. Next up is SOFI. SOFI, that's only up 0.83%, so that's no good. And next up is TVGN. Presently, that is up 7.93% on 1.96 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. So we'll go ahead and add that TVGN to our pre-market list. All right, so here's our list so far. If you see any other stocks that meet all of our criteria, let me know in the chat. Four criteria are NASDAQ listed stock trading at least $1 per share in the pre-market session. And in this pre-market, it must have achieved at least a 6% price change, positive or negative, and at least 1 million shares of volume traded also in the pre-market. So if you see any other stocks, guys, that meet all four of those criteria, let me know in the chat. We'll go ahead and take a look. DWTX, okay. Sorry. Yep, that qualifies. Currently up 20.6% on almost 2 million shares, trading at least $1 per share. That definitely qualifies, James, so we'll add that to our radar. DWTX. All right, if you see any other stocks, folks, let me know in the chat. But good find there on DWTX. All right, yes, that is all. All right, folks, so we'll go ahead and wrap up for this pre-market pulse. Please be sure to like the video. See, we have 7 likes, more than 7 people watching. So please be sure to hit the like button. That greatly helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Also, please be sure to subscribe to our channel so you get notifications when we produce new videos. Also, if anyone's watching this video on a replay, but you're not familiar with our company yet, check out fundertrading.com. That is our website. You will see a link in the description to this video. Other than that, for everyone who's part of the coaching program, I'll see you there in about 17 minutes, and we'll pick up for today's trading session. All right, other than that, folks, have a great trading day and have a good weekend, and I'll see everyone for Monday's pre-market pulse. Take care.